Hello. Right now, only gamers will understand me when you just sit down in the evening to play for an hour or two and don't notice how it starts to dawn outside. The plan to quickly complete one quest turns into a full night shift without sleep and regrets, because there are games that don't just engage you, they completely absorb you. When you lose track of time, reality fades away, and you just keep playing. If this is relatable for you, write which game has shamelessly stolen your time. And I'll share my top picks with you. Enjoy watching. Bloodborne. This largely depends, of course, on how good you are at Souls-like games. I mean, if you're a master or speedrunner, obviously you'll complete the game faster, that's understandable. But considering the difficulty of Bloodborne plus the Old Hunters DLC, you'll spend a lot of time with this game. Because the main game is incredibly long and challenging. A complete playthrough of the main game takes at least 70 hours. And again, depending on how you play Souls-like games. Then you'll have the Old Hunters DLC playthrough, which will take plenty of your time. You'll spend especially long completing the Chalice dungeons. There are players who still spend tons of time there. And if the game hooks you, you'll spend many hours with it, as was the case for me. Additionally, according to most Souls-like fans, Bloodborne is still considered one of the best in the genre. And, I understand people who still dream that this game will be officially released on PC. However, even without this, fans recently managed to get it running on an emulator, which is also a big event. It still needs optimization though. Because there are really issues with the FPS, it's very low by current standards. So yes, I understand these people. Because damn, there's no other game like it. I personally also comfort myself with the hope that From Software will make a remake, as is common nowadays. And finally, I'll be able to play this masterpiece with maximum comfortable FPS. But in all other aspects, the art style, boss designs, the mood, atmosphere, nothing can compare to Bloodborne. Maybe it only seems like a masterpiece to me, I don't know. Write in the comments, by the way, if you like Bloodborne. But I couldn't help but mention this masterpiece. Days Gone. I want to remember this game in light of the remaster release, which prompted me to return and recall how many nights I spent riding through post-apocalyptic Oregon on my bike. You think to yourself, I'll play for an hour before bed, and then bam, it's already dawn outside and you're still clearing another freaker nest or completing a mission for a camp. In Days Gone, you play as Deacon Saint, John, a biker who lost his wife at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. And you know what, guys? This character is so alive and charismatic that you can't help but empathize with his story. The open-world atmosphere is simply captivating. These beautiful landscapes of the American Northwest, abandoned towns, dense forests. Everything looks amazing even now. And the hordes of zombies, they're something else. When you first see a crowd of hundreds of freakers rushing toward you, you literally get goosebumps. Your heart starts racing, adrenaline spikes, and you frantically look for somewhere to escape or set up an ambush. Now, that's what I call emotions. I want to specifically mention the bike. A true work of art. Customization, upgrades, constant concern about fuel and condition. You literally become attached to your iron horse. And these rides through beautiful locations with an excellent soundtrack, simply indescribable feelings. Yes, the game had technical problems at release, but now it's a polished product. The plot draws you in completely, the characters are memorable, and some moments in the story leave you sitting in shock, not believing what's happening. I'll say this, if you haven't played Days Gone yet, fix this mistake immediately. It's one of those games you want to return to again and again, like even after completing the main story. Just hop on your bike and ride through this dangerous but incredibly atmospheric world. A solid 9 out of 10. And I'd even say it's one of the most underrated games of recent years, which undeservedly isn't getting a sequel. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. This isn't just a game, it's a real test of your endurance, patience, and reaction time. I remember sitting down to play thinking, well, I'll kill a couple of bosses and go to sleep, and ended up greeting the dawn with a controller in hand, trying for the 100th time to defeat another difficult boss. This game from Software differs from their previous projects. While in Dark Souls or Bloodborne, you could choose your playstyle and level up certain characteristics. Here you have to play by the game's rules. And this challenge, friends, is so captivating that you simply lose track of time. The combat system in Sekiro is simply magnificent. These perfectly calibrated parries, counterattacks, dodges, All this creates the feeling of a real sword duel. When you finally understand the rhythm of combat and begin to dance with your opponent in a deadly dance, you experience such pleasure that you rarely find in other games. The atmosphere of feudal Japan simply amazes with its authenticity and beauty. These mountain temples, lost villages, castles, and fortresses, everything is created with such attention to detail that sometimes you just stop to admire the sunset over Ashina. And you know what, guys? Despite the fact that the game came out several years ago, it visually looks amazing even now. But what gives it special charm are the bosses. I could fight some of them for hours, dying and returning again and again, but not feeling irritation, only excitement and desire to get better. And when you finally defeat a particularly difficult opponent, the euphoria is off the charts. The plot here is also top-notch, as befits games from this studio. It doesn't get in your face, but it's deep and interesting enough if you're willing to dig into the details and listen carefully to the dialogues. These intertwining fates, ancient legends, and tragic character stories create a truly memorable narrative. Yes, Sekiro is difficult, very difficult, but each death is a lesson. You gradually get better, and the game rewards you not just with new abilities, but with a sense of true mastery. Though before that, your neighbors will have to get used to your shouts of joy at 4 a.m. when you finally defeat Ishin, the Sword Saint. This game is definitely one where you'll meet more than one Dawn, and you won't regret it for a second, but only if you love hardcore games. Ghost of Tsushima. And if you prefer something lighter but still in Japanese style, Ghost of Tsushima is your choice. This masterpiece from Sucker Punch transports us to feudal Japan during the Mongol invasion, and does it so well that you literally feel like a samurai. The combat system in the game is simply a work of art. The stances, parries, dodges, everything is so smooth and organic that each battle turns into a true cinematic spectacle. And when you masterfully dispose of a group of enemies using all the techniques you've learned, it brings such satisfaction that words can't describe. But the most important thing is the atmosphere, guys. These endless fields with swaying grass, autumn forest with falling red leaves, mountain temples in the mist, everything looks so picturesque that I constantly stop just to admire the landscape and take a screenshot. And when you play in Kurosawa mode, with the black and white filter and film grain, you feel like a hero in a classic samurai film. The story of Jin Sakai, a samurai forced to abandon his code of honor to save his people, grips you so much that it's impossible to tear yourself away. The characters are written so deeply that you sincerely empathize with their fates. And the ending. Guys, I literally had tears in my eyes. If you haven't played Ghost of Tsushima yet, immediately correct this mistake. It's definitely one of the best games of its generation. A true 10 out of 10. A game that will make you forget about sleep, food, everything in the world. That's how much it draws you into its world and gameplay. Resident Evil 4 Remake. You know, guys, when they remade the cult classic Resident Evil 4, I was skeptical about it. I thought, why mess with a classic? But damn, how wrong I was. This game literally glued me to the screen for several days. You tell yourself, just one more save and then sleep. And then bam, it's already dawn outside and you're still playing through another tense scene. The Resident Evil 4 remake is a perfect example of how to reimagine a classic. They preserved everything we loved about the original. The atmosphere of the creepy Spanish village, charismatic villains, cool Leon Kennedy, but at the same time modernized the gameplay and graphics so that the game feels absolutely fresh. And those bosses. Each encounter with them is an event, especially the battle with Krauser or, of course, with the giant El Gigante. Adrenaline goes through the roof, your hands sweat, and your heart beats like crazy. And this system of parrying and dodging is simply a masterpiece, adding a new level of tactics to the fights. The script and dialogues deserve special mention. These simultaneously tense and amusing moments with Luis, the charismatic Salazar, the creepy Castellan Mendez. All this creates such an atmosphere that you simply can't stop playing. And when you reach the castle or laboratory, you realize that the game continues to surprise with new locations and enemies. But especially enjoyable is the chemistry between Leon and Ashley, which, if I'm not mistaken, was rather irritating in the original, but in the remake actually makes you want to listen to every line. The graphics in the remake are top-notch. These detailed textures, realistic character models, amazing lighting and effects. All this creates an incredibly convincing world that you immerse yourself in completely. I played through this game several times in a row, unlocking new costumes, weapons, trying to beat my records. And each playthrough is a new experience. Without a doubt, it's a 10 out of 10. A game that draws you in so much that you simply lose track of time. Devil May Cry. My friends, Devil May Cry is that series of games that kept me up at night trying to get the coveted S rank in every mission. And this applies to several parts at once, including DMC, which original fans don't like. Although in my opinion it's more casual and therefore better suited for beginners, though the hero could use a hair color change. Thankfully, there are separate mods for that. Yes, the fans did it first. What makes Devil May Cry so special? Everything. This crazy overflowing energy of the combat system, where you literally dance among enemies, switching between weapons, using special abilities, and performing wild combos. When you finally master all the mechanics and start creating your own combinations, scattering demons across the arena to energetic music, it's such a thrill that words can't describe. And what characters there are. Charismatic Dante with his witty comments at the most inappropriate moments, mysterious Virgil, beautiful Trish, crazy Nero. They're all so memorable that they become almost like family. And the plot, though a bit crazy and sometimes confusing, is presented with such style and courage that you can't help but be drawn in. The level and boss design deserves special praise. These incredibly creative demons you have to fight, each with their unique mechanics and phases, make you use all your skills and reflexes. And when you finally overcome a particularly difficult boss, that feeling of triumph is priceless. The graphics in the latest installments are simply stunning. These detailed models, smooth animations, cool effects from using abilities, all this creates an incredibly stylish picture that's impossible to look away from. If you haven't touched this legendary series yet, urgently correct this oversight. Devil May Cry is a game that doesn't just draw you in, it causes a real addiction. You'll return to it again and again to experience, once more, that unique delight from perfect combo execution. Though everyone has their favorite part of this series, so I suggest writing its name in the comments. DayZ. Guys, if you're looking for a game that will make you forget about sleep, food, and real life in general, DayZ is definitely for you. Seriously, many of my friends genuinely call it a life simulator, just with zombies as neighbors. DayZ isn't just a game, it's an entire survival experience that's simply impossible to describe until you try it yourself. Imagine, you wake up on the shore of a post-Soviet country called Chernorus. You have nothing but a t-shirt and jeans, zombies are all around, and every player you meet can either help you or shoot you without hesitation for a can of beans. And here the real adventure begins. Searching for food, water, weapons, medicine. It all turns into a real quest. You comb through every house, every barn, constantly looking around and listening. And when you hear gunshots or footsteps in the distance, your heart starts beating like crazy. The adrenaline level is simply off the charts, especially when you've already collected good loot and are afraid of losing everything. What makes DayZ truly special is the social interaction. Meeting another player is always an event. You never know what will happen. They might shoot you without warning, might try to talk, offer an exchange, or even invite you to join their group. And these unexpected encounters create stories that you'll remember for a long time. I found several new friends this way, and when you plan a raid on some base together and everything falls apart because of another group, or a random zombie, it creates such emotions that no movie can compare. The graphics in the game might seem outdated, but the atmosphere doesn't suffer at all. The huge map with forests, fields, cities, and military objects creates a feeling of a real post-apocalyptic world. DayZ isn't just a game, it's an entire world with its own rules and stories. It's a game where you can wander for hours without meeting a soul, and then in 5 minutes experience so much adrenaline that you won't get in any shooter. If you haven't played it yet, definitely try it. Just don't blame me later for sleepless nights and being late for work. It's definitely that game with which you'll meet more than one dawn, and each time you'll come back for a new portion of unique situations and emotions. Fallout 4. Since this is the second such video, many games were suggested by you under the previous clip. And, guys, many in the comments recommended Fallout 4, and it's really a good game. But as an older gamer, I prefer New Vegas, since I first got acquainted with this series from that part. And it was love at first launch. I can't count how many sleepless nights I spent wandering the Mojave, completing quests for NCR or Caesar's Legion, deciding the fate of these post-apocalyptic lands. Fallout New Vegas is a real masterpiece of a role-playing game, where your decisions really matter. And so, even after completing the game once, you can start a new playthrough choosing different dialogue options, different solutions in the same situations, or just go explore the wasteland for side quests that make this dead world come alive. As strange as that sounds, you might say that the graphics are outdated, but guys, who cares about that when the game world is so alive and the characters are written so well that you sincerely empathize with their stories? Besides, there are plenty of graphic mods available. And what DLCs? Dead Money with its grim atmosphere, Honest Hearts with incredible landscapes, philosophical old-world blues, and epic finale in Lonesome Road. Each add-on is a self-contained story that adds depth to the main plot, and time that gets lost in completing them. I've played through New Vegas at least 5 times, and each time I discovered something new. Many praise Fallout 4 for crafting and settlement building, and yes, it has its advantages, better graphics. But New Vegas, friends, New Vegas has soul. This game makes you think, empathize, make difficult decisions. Every choice has consequences. Every character is memorable. If by some miracle you still haven't played Fallout New Vegas, urgently correct this mistake, especially if you love good stories and real RPGs. Yes, the graphics aren't the most modern, but believe me, after a couple of hours you'll stop noticing it. Completely immersed in the atmosphere of the Mojave. It's no wonder that even after so many years, the fan community is still active. Thousands of mods have been created, and debates about the best part of the series never die down. And, for me, this debate has long been resolved. New Vegas will forever be in my heart as a game with which I met countless dawns. An unconditional 10 out of 10. A true genre classic. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 and S.T.A.L.K.E.R Gamma. Not far from post-apocalypse, which the community supports through mods more than 10 years later, is the game S.T.A.L.K.E.R, which recently received its long-awaited sequel. When the second part finally came out after so many years of waiting, I literally dropped out of reality for weeks. To give you an idea, I took vacation specifically for this game, and didn't regret it one bit. The atmosphere of the new zone simply boggles the imagination. These incredible anomalies, creepy mutants, dangerous factions, and mysterious artifacts, all now in stunning modern graphics, which literally makes you forget that you're just playing a game. The sounds of rain, creaking trees, distant howls of mutants, all this creates such immersion that I probably haven't experienced in any other game. The plot worthily continues the traditions of the series, making you unravel the mysteries of the zone, make difficult decisions, and survive in this harsh world where each day could be your last. And these dialogues, these characters, each with their own history, motivation, each one memorable and doesn't seem like just an extra. But you know what, guys? If you've already completed S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 and want more, or maybe are waiting until you save up for a new computer for the second part, there's something amazing that can quench your thirst for the zone. I'm talking about S.T.A.L.K.E.R Gamma. You won't believe it, but this is a mod for good old Shadow of Chernobyl, which transforms it into something incredible, standing on the same level as the modern sequel. Gamma isn't just a mod, it's a whole collection of modifications that completely transforms the game, making it not only more beautiful, but also significantly more hardcore. In Gamma, all systems have been completely reworked, from economy and trade to ballistics and artificial intelligence. Here, every bullet counts, every medkit is a treasure, any encounter with a mutant could be your last. And you know what? It's incredibly addictive. The main thing is to endure the first few hours as a rookie with basic loot and find decent weapons. The atmosphere of Gamma is so dense that you literally feel the radiation and danger around you. Survival becomes a real test. You need to monitor your nutrition, sleep, weapon condition, find shelter during anomalous emissions. And each small victory, each successful day in the zone brings real satisfaction. Speaking of visuals, Gamma with modern textures, lighting, and weather effects looks as if the game came out a couple of years ago, not in 2007. And the sound design makes your hair stand on end from tension. In short, if you've already enjoyed S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 and want to continue your journey through the zone, or just looking for a truly hardcore survival experience, Gamma definitely deserves your attention. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And we'll end today with a Nintendo exclusive. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which, thanks to emulators, can be played anywhere. The game offers an incredible hundreds of hours of gameplay. There's so much content that there's a very real risk of dropping out of real life completely. The main storyline, boss battles, dungeon exploration, and crafting the most unimaginable mechanisms So bizarre that compilations of such creations made by players gather millions of views on YouTube. The boundless open world divided into 3 levels, hiding numerous secrets and adventures, is just a small part of the available content. Besides this, the game provides many unique mechanics, based on which it allows you to solve most game tasks creatively and in very non-standard ways. Zelda immerses you from the first minutes, and there's always something to do. Plus, it's a technological masterpiece that somehow fits and works perfectly on Nintendo's not-so-powerful portable console. Strongly recommended for playthrough, the game will captivate you for a long time. Even if you're not a fan of such cartoon-style games, believe me, just give the game a chance. You'll thank me later. And that's all for today. Yeah, the video turned out a bit long, but honestly, I just couldn't talk about some of my favorite games any quicker. Games that I've spent thousands of hours playing over the years. Of course, these aren't the only ones. So don't forget to drop your own time eaters in the comments. Who knows? I might even make a part 3 featuring the games you can't stop playing. Thanks for watching. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button, and I'll see you again very soon in the next video.